Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order at 5:02. Welcome to everyone this evening. I think we'll call the meeting to order, and then we'll go to public comment from audience of the board for items on the closed session. Seeing that we don't have anyone in the audience, members of the audience can address the board regarding closed session agenda items. Comments from visitors shall not exceed 3 minutes unless waived by a majority of all members of the board, but seeing that we don't have any guests tonight, do we have any other guests? Any other portals?
No.
Okay, great. We'll adjourn to closed
Roll
session.
call.
Oh, sorry, roll call. Thank you. Go ahead, Dinah.
Board Member Van Landingham,
Present.
Board Member Reed Cluth,
Present.
Vice President Clerk Barrow,
Present.
President Cole,
Present.
4 present.
Great, thank you. And we'll adjourn to closed session now. Thanks.
I had one yesterday that, they helped us.
Welcome, everyone, this evening. In closed session, the board took action to release 5 temporary teachers and approve Resolution 11:24/25. The roll call vote was as follows. Board Member Van Lanningham, yes. Board Member Cluth, yes. Board Member Bove-LaMonica, yes. Board Member Barrow, yes. And Board Member Cole, yes. Thank you, Dinah. Will you take the roll, please?
Board Member Van Landingham.
Present.
Board Member Reed Cluth.
Present.
Board Member Bove-LaMonica.
Present.
Vice President Clerk Barrow.
Present.
President Cole.
Present.
All present.
Thank you, Dinah. And please join me for the flag salute. All right, moving on to approval of the agenda. Can I get an approval of the agenda for tonight, please?
I so move.
Thank you. Rachel?
I second.
Thank you, Carol. All in favor? Aye. Agenda has been approved. No, thank you, Maggie. Sorry, forgot you over there. We'll move on to announcements. Welcome the Valley Student Council.
Hi, my name is Maria Costas, and I'm the Student Council Vice President. We are to update on what's happening at Valley. 8th grade science camp has been rescheduled to next month and will be held on March 7th through March 9th. The students are very excited to participate in their outdoor science trip at Asher Camp. We hope they have a great time. 6th and 7th grade science camps are just around the corner. We will keep you posted as we get closer to the dates. Yesterday, Valley had their February flag ceremony. Many students were recognized for representing excellence and integrity at Valley. We would like to congratulate those students once again.
Hello, I'm Griffin Pitts, the fundraising commissioner for Student Council at Valley. Next Wednesday, Valley will have their second Spirit Games of the year. Students will be able to work together on teams to compete in different events like Jeopardy, volleyball, and even an inflatable obstacle course. Everyone is looking forward to a fun day of competition and teamwork. There are also some exciting things going on in several classrooms around campus, and we would like to share some of those activities with you. 5th grade is heading to the California Science Center on Friday, March 14th. They will take what they learn in the classroom and put it in hands-on and focus. 5th grade has just started their 3rd unit in science, which focuses on Earth and the Sun. They're excited for their field trip. In Art 8, students are preparing for the Empty Bowls fundraiser on February 27th. They're in the process of glazing the bowls so they can serve soup in them. The students hope that you are able to make their event.
Hello, I'm Eleni Costas, and I'm a student council representative. Band students have received some new instruments, including a tuba, a bass clarinet, and a DW drum set. The Valley Band will be playing the Star Spangled Banner at the Little League opening day, the Empty Bowls fundraiser, and St. Patrick's Day parade. We hope you are able to stop by and see them play. Now for some other updates. The winter sports season is over, and our student athletes have had some great games against our South Bay friends. Next up, spring sports. Valley will have boys volleyball, girls flag football, track and field, and surf. Students should check in with Coach Vasquez about important information for spring sports. The Science Olympiad regional competition is coming up on March 1st. The team is working hard to prepare their competition by studying for their events and building models. We wish them luck. Builders Club is hosting a bottle cap drive. Homerooms will be competing to collect the most bottle caps. The homeroom with the most bottle caps will win a nothing bunk cake party. The last day to turn in bottle caps to homeroom classes is March 5th. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Presley Clancy Simon. I'm a student council representative. We invite you to join HBPTO for their silent disco night on Thursday, March 6th from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. This is a family event for our awesome community of parents and students. Dress in your brightest, wildest neon outfits, and there will be taco plates, ice cream from Creamy Boys, along with many options of snacks and drinks available for purchase. Pre-sale tickets are available to purchase online. Don't miss out on the coolest party of the year. And finally, 8th grade has had a lot of events coming up. Today, they went to the Museum of Tolerance. Next up, on March 12th, 8th graders will attend their Disneyland trip. We will keep you posted on more important dates as they come up. Thank you for letting us share what is going on in middle school at Valley. We look forward to updating you again next month.
Well, thank you guys for coming. It's always a highlight for us. So we really appreciate your time and your family's time giving us all the updates. Oh, all done? No? Oh, they're bye. Okay. Oh, yeah, they're just still waving. Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez, for always bringing them, and they're just amazing. So we appreciate you guys. Presley, thank you for always being here. I feel like you should be, you're just a part of the board.
Come on up.
Got a space here. Maggie's on the line. Anyway, so we'll move on to public comment and communication. Members of the audience may address the board on any topic, regardless of whether it is listed on the agenda. However, the board may not discuss issues raised that are not listed on the agenda. Topics not on the agenda that are brought to the board's attention may be investigated by the administration and a report made to the board, either publicly or privately at a future meeting. Comments from visitors shall not exceed 3 minutes per individual speaker unless waived by a majority of all members of the board. Is there anyone here that wants to address the board? Anyone online? Okay, great. Moving on to board reports. Let's look down the list here. Carol, any board reports you want to share?
Not for me.
Okay, great. Kathy?
I have a couple.
Great.
So this week was busy. We had a board tour of Valley, and I attended the HBF and HVPTO meeting. So I'm reporting on that first. And I want to stress how valuable these organizations are for all you millions of people who are listening to this board meeting. And so check out their websites for volunteer opportunities because there's tons of them. But I wanted to say that HVPTO, they had a great job with their scholastic book fairs and Chipotle Yum Raisers. They're very successful. Upcoming is the Maintenance and Operation Worker Appreciation Day, March 3rd. Sonic Disco, which one of the students presented about, is March 6th. Dolphin Dash, April 2nd through the 4th. Yearbooks are on sale, continues to be on sale, so check out the website and sign up for the newsletter. That's for the PTO. Ed Foundation, in case you don't know what Ed Foundation does, they help sponsor lots of opportunities at the school, including STEAM, counselors, libraries, music, art, a ton of stuff. And at the meeting, they announced that their update year-to-date, the annual giving update is like at $718,000, up 6.5% over last year, with 41.3% participation. They had a Mom's Day night out tonight, which is sold out at St. Rock. They're getting a few new community partners, some flash parties, and the big Hearts of Hermosa is on Saturday, May 10th. So that's boots on the beach. So check out the websites for both of them because I have no regrets over my volunteerism as a parent when my kids were here. I met some of my current best friends, so volunteer. Then we had our second retreat day, but I call it more like a seminar for the ELA, which is English Language Arts Adoption Committee. And this is near and dear to my heart, but it's led by our very own Dr. Wilds, who is extremely smart and experienced, and her guidance in teaching us about the science of reading. And that's what we're trying to bring our district into, is learning how to actually teach reading rather than just assume some things. So I'm not good at committing things to memory, so I'm going to read some of this. So the ELA Curriculum Adoption Committee has met for 2 full days to study the research on effective literacy instruction and reading development, articulate best practices through a vision statement. That's something that we've been working on for the last 2 meetings. For all stakeholders, use the knowledge to evaluate K-8 curriculum options, and then design a plan for implementation for the 25-26 school year. So I'm excited about this. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. So our goal is to bring forward a curriculum rooted in 4 essential practices: explicit, systematic practice in foundational skills, regular practice with complex text, building knowledge and vocabulary through text, and reading, writing, and speaking grounded in evidence from the text. So our committee is designing an evaluation checklist rooted in these practices, and we'll begin evaluating materials in like 2 weeks. So we're going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb and find the best thing for our district so that we can erase some of the learning loss, or not we have too many kids who are not reading where they should be. So we want to reach each and every student. So that's my deal on the ELA. I'm excited to be on the committee. I feel really very fortunate to be on it.
I have an update from South Bay Coalition.
Okay,
now's the
go
time.
ahead. Go ahead, Maggie. Go ahead.
So the South Bay Community Coalition Against Hate had its first meeting of the year in January. It will meet again in March. There are updates from Black History Month. Obviously, lots of things happening all around the county, all around the beach cities. There's still a few more events that are happening. One is Maricosta has a gospel choir event tomorrow night. And the second is with Supervisor Holly Mitchell. Next week, there is a unpacking the 105 freeway and how it has impacted communities. So looking at how communities have been separated by transportation and urban planning. And then I know Dr. Wilds was at the Jewish Federation Education Summit last week, so I can leave that to her to update. But there are a wide variety of events that are ongoing, and I can send the board and the community upcoming events in honor of Women's History Month next week.
One of the neighbors got Christina.
I'm not sure, Maggie, if that's your feedback or,
Christina looks funny in both that.
I'm all done.
okay, thank you. We're hearing some feedback. We just didn't know if it was from your end. But Rachel, do you want to talk wellness at all?
Sure. So we had a Wellness Council meeting, a monthly meeting, actually today. We did not have one in January because of, I believe, the fires. It was canceled, and our last one before that was in December. So today we went over the Tri-Cities survey, the data results. Dr. Wilds reviewed the results of the Tri-Cities survey that our students took in the fall. It replaced Panorama, focused on inclusion and belonging. Then we broke up into small groups and worked on disaggregating the data, looking for trends, anything that's surprising. We also were given our homework, and that is to continue something that we'd been working on in December, which is working on the district, the vision that folds into the district's wellness plan with an overarching goal of updating both those documents.
Great, thank you. And Susan, do you want to talk about the Jewish Federation meeting you went to?
Absolutely. So there were 6 local superintendents and I attended downtown last week, and we heard from a number of keynote speakers, including leaders in JFED. And then we broke out into small groups, which I'll be honest, the keynote speakers were all amazing, but we got to break out into small groups based on need. So one of the activities, they had scenarios that might be facing schools, school leaders. Back up just a minute, the whole summit was an education summit. So it was geared toward teachers, leaders. There were some school board, but mainly school principals and kind of lead teachers around the greater Los Angeles area. Unfortunately, it was raining sideways, so traffic was not easy getting downtown, but we were then able to kind of break out into groups, and they had experts kind of leading kind of situational panels to help leaders talk through different issues they may face in terms of anti-Semitism. There were then breakout groups allowing us to study When does criticism of Israel blend into anti-Semitism? And so we really got kind of an in-depth kind of look and kind of education around how you balance that in a school district. So it was really valuable.
Great, thank you for sharing, all of you. We're going to move on to reports to the board and discussion. R-21-24/25, the mid-year local control accountability plan. Ms. Gluck and Ms. Montalvo.
Tonight, we are here to share the mid-year LCAP for the 24-25 school year. No action is required by the board tonight, and no engagement of educational partners was required. This presentation is only an update. The 24-27 LCAP aligns with the district strategic plan, ensuring our goals support long-term student success. In year one, we are focusing on implementing, monitoring, and evaluating key actions while engaging stakeholders for ongoing improvement. As we move forward, we will use data and feedback to refine and strengthen our efforts. Senate Bill 114 requires the school districts to present a mid-year LCAP report to the board. The report must include data for the LCAP metrics, mid-year expenditures, and implementation data for all identified goals. As you can see in this slide, there are some key steps to review the progress. We need to review, make adjustments, and ensure accountability. How we do that is through the use of data and analyzing and collecting it and assessing progress toward the goals and collaborating with our educational partners. Dinah, slide, please. The three LCAP goals are listed above. Goals 1 and 2 prioritize school climate, pupil engagement, achievement, and implementation of state standards, where goal 3 prioritizes our increase of enrollment with a full day of transitional kindergarten and kindergarten programs, before and after school daycare, school safety, and maintaining our state-of-the-art facilities. This is our glance of what our LCAP was based on. You can see the 3 schools that we have, the number of employees we have, and what the breakup of our school body is.
And at the bottom of the chart, you can see the unduplicated student count, and the total budget at first interim was $20,243,000. Next slide. And this is just the impact to the budget overview. This is as it was stated in the BOP when the LCAP was adopted in June. Nothing has changed there. Those numbers are still the same. But the overall impact to the budget overview for parents from budget to first interim has changed about $2,900. We will be getting $2,900 less for the intervention program based on enrollment and the unduplicated count.
2,900, is that?
Yes, 2,900. That's not much.
At this point of the school year, some metric outcomes are known and goals have been fully implemented. Some are in progress and have been partially implemented, and some are unknown. Some goal actions were never started or were no longer prioritized. The metrics for each LCAP goal will be shared in the following slides. So here you can go ahead and look at goal 1. Some of the items that are on the not implemented are soon to be implemented. The California Healthy Kids Survey and the Cal Schools staff survey will be implemented in March. So that will move over to being fully implemented. Panorama was discontinued and the Tri-City data was adopted by the district. And the Tri-City data was just completed in January, at the end of January, so that data will be coming soon. And then you can also see many of the items that we have for Goal 1 have been fully implemented with the district. So we're on our way to completing almost all of these action items. Under Goal 2, under not implemented, second trimester, we have iReady. We're currently in the process of completing that. That will be completed by tomorrow. So that will be moving over to fully implemented. And CASB administration does not happen until May, the end of May, May 5th through 30th. So that data will not be available to the board until summer. And the professional development survey, we've elected to provide professional development surveys to staff after each and every professional development. So it's fresh in their mind as opposed to doing one survey at the end of the year. Under partially implemented, we don't have our participation rate with iReady, but we're almost completely done, and we'll have to check what our rate was and where it was, our goal was for that. And then also in regards to our 3% increase of unduplicated students and special education groups, we're waiting on that data. It was pretty close, like we're only like 1/100th of a point off. So I want to say that it's fully implemented, but mathematically, I'm going to say it's partially implemented. And then the annual 3% increase of CAS, we're getting really close over there as well. In regards to our community metrics, I feel like this goal and the action items that we have, we're doing an excellent job with the increase of permits, our full day daycare, daycare, and then our full day TK and K program have helped us have steady enrollment in the district. We're very close to having most of our teachers credentialed and assigned to teach in their content area, and we're doing a fantastic job with our new facilities, and we're looking forward to Valley being updated as well, but we have been met in regards to our standards of good or exemplary rating of our school sites, and we do have standards aligned instructional materials.
So actions and expenditures on Goal 1, inclusion, budgeted for these goals, $657,000, and we spent about $360,000 so far. In the red boxes, culturally 1.4, culturally responsive manager and resource bank, and 1.10, reading coach. Those items will not be completed, and funds will be reallocated to other resources.
And we're looking forward to reallocating some of these funds to our new English language arts adoption.
Want to do Goal 2? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, Goal 2, excellence. Budgeted 15 million there, and we're at about 7.86 million. As you can see, this goal is one of the largest goals. It's our highly qualified staff, our professional development, our STEMs and robotic, foreign language, and most things have been fully implemented. Goal 3, community. Budgeted for this goal is 1.8 million, and we've almost expended all of it, 1.1 million, with almost everything fully implemented. We're still working on the digital literacy and Chromebook and network infrastructure.
So as you can see in this last slide, many of these action items are in the process of happening in the near future, and we will be able to move them to being completed. We look forward to sharing the data in regards to iReady, the California Healthy Kids Survey, the LCAP survey, the Beach Cities TRICE survey, our LPAC, and all of our reclassifications with you throughout the school year as that data becomes available. The data will also be shared when we do our updated LCAP and where we are at toward our goals. Do you have any questions for us?
Thank you. I'll just go down the line here. Carol?
I don't think so. I really like how it's laid out, though.
Thank you.
Very clear.
I have a question that maybe everybody knows. What's an unduplicated student?
A good question. So in the state of California, unduplicated students is a category of students that the state, under LCFS funding, gives additional supplemental money for. And so they will take account of how many to be considered unduplicated, low income as measured by the free and reduced lunch forms, English language learner, homeless, or foster. Yeah. Districts across the state, because of the free universal meals program, unduplicated counts have dropped because there's no reason to fill out a free and reduced lunch form if you're getting free lunch. So Paula and her staff have really done a nice job of promoting what else you can get if you fill out the form, but it is still challenging.
Maggie?
No questions.
Thank you. Rachel? Yeah, thank you, Sylvia and Paula, for, it actually was very helpful to do that together. Have you guys done that together before? You did it together last year? I just don't recall that, but it was very helpful to see it as like the LCAP and the money and how they flow together. So thank you for doing that. Let's move on to the superintendent's report, the 100-day presentation. Dr. Wilds.
Hey, listen, there's enough gray hair here. I feel like I qualify. Great. Pull it up. All right, so thank you. So we've kind of combined two things in one report tonight. One is we're going to go over this 100-day summary, right? What really we've been focused on and kind of what we've learned over the last 100 days. And then I want to share a few more items for the superintendent's report as well. So just a reminder, the purpose of a 100-day entry plan was really to kind of be able to clearly think through a roadmap of kind of smooth transition, right? And that smooth transition starts with building relationships, right? You want to be able to get in a room and have people tell you the truth, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And we heard so much good, but we also heard areas of concern. So we're going to go over that and kind of let everybody know what I learned. Like I said, we wanted, as we went through areas of strengths and areas for improvement, there were things we saw kind of immediately we could take care of. We didn't need to wait 100 days to start acting on it, so we'll talk about those as well. So we had a lot of coffee, a lot of snacks. So we had several coffees with the superintendent, we had treats with the superintendent, so we had day events, we had night events. We wanted to give folks who work and folks that had young children at home plenty of opportunities to come and hang out. We met monthly with the Chamber of Commerce. I went and talked with the Women's Club, the Hermosa city leaders, both council and our city manager, our Rotary Club, PTO and HBEF, having one-on-one meetings with them, and then getting in a room with our Tri-Cities folks, our beach cities, our city, our police, and really kind of talk about what they're seeing from their perspective. We also then had a lot of snacks with our teachers, and so we met with the Valley staff, the View staff, the Vista staff, and we're going to see a photo later on. We started, the last one was at the Vista staff. We started around 3:30, and I think we were there till like 5:30. And so we just got to hang out in the NPR and kind of talk. We also establishing weekly one-on-one meetings with HBEF leadership, ongoing one-on-one meetings with our administrators. You learn a lot in carpool. I don't know if you've done valet lately, you learn all kinds of things, including entry and exit entrance points, and just basic traffic concerns. Lunch and being out at recess as well. And with our kids being out at lunch and recess and visiting classrooms and sitting in classrooms with kids. We've looked at a significant number of student interest surveys down to cell phones, their Tri-Cities survey data to learn a little bit more about them. Going and visiting city student council, and again, our Tri-Cities data disaggregation. So every time we met, no matter who the group was, the very first thing, I had 4 questions that I always asked, and it always started with community. People adore this community. They adore each other. They adore their schools. Every part of it, from whether they're walking to school, whether they're riding their bikes to school, whether in carpool. And when you work carpool, you won't see just one student rolling out of the car, you will see a neighborhood cluster of kids rolling out of the car. And I think that's probably one of the most unique parts of Hermosa. You also have dedicated staff, right? We have staff who have been here forever. They've started their career, they've continued their career, they have no interest in going anywhere else. And you can see in this photo, Leah Navas, our HBEA president, one night she stopped by my office, she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm putting on my shoes to go bond walk." And she's like, "I'm coming, you can't walk in the dark by yourself." And so she and I walked up and down the streets of Valley, which is a little more inclined than I was hoping for that evening. We also have really high-performing kids. Our kids do really well. You talk with superintendents and, when I meet with other districts, they would kill for our data. We have areas that we want to clean up and fix, but people would literally kill for our data. And our kids are so impressive. Especially like these little smiles on our band kids, and really solutions oriented. So you can see on the right hand side, that's a photo of Vista, and you can see if you can tell, the sun was starting to set, and so we hung out for 2 hours. And people don't come with problems, they come with solutions, right? They had, we wanted to tell you this one thing, but here's 7 ways we think it could possibly be fixed, which I thought was really, really great. So some of the themes that emerged, we talked about the themes that emerged on the positive strengths, but there were some themes that kind of emerged and kind of rose to the top. One of the number one concerns that I heard going out was the need for increased administrator support. The staff at View and Vista felt very strongly that they wanted somebody who just belonged in their school and owned their school. And I thought that was fair. Somebody who, Ms. Overbeck has been so dedicated to those schools, 2 sites, but it's like anything else. If you're running between 2 jobs, right, someone's always going to be the person who's not being watched right now. And so we want to thank you to the board for letting us bring in Sandy Scora, an interim principal, and that has made the world of difference for families and for staff, because they really feel like someone who's just solely focused on them. And Ms. Overbeck can be solely focused on Vista. Additionally, kind of student behavior and discipline. And we have a little bit ways to go with student behavior and discipline. But that was something we needed to recalibrate and reset. We saw a rise nationally around behavior post-COVID, particularly for our little ones. Who may have missed out on preschool, our kids who've missed out on interacting, the speaking and listening, the rules for how we productively engage in lunchtime was something we needed. That's kind of the nicest way I can say that. How do we sit and engage with each other face-to-face versus on Snapchat? Special education support, making sure that all of our folks feel that they have somebody to kind of talk to, making sure that we have, so impressed with the school psychologists that we've hired this past year. They really are really amazing, dedicated folks. But thinking about how we can go after working with the Southwest SELPA. Hermosa Beach has been at the short end of receiving money for special education. And I want to really kind of applaud Dr. Jason Johnson, because he decided to make himself the head of the Superintendent Southwest SELPA committee, and that's what he took on. And so because of that, we're going to be on the receiving end of some additional funding for special education next year. He's a pit bull. Number 4, social emotional support. We've seen rises in anxiety, particularly at our middle school level. So really kind of trying to determine kind of where is that coming from. I want to applaud, the Valley staff for taking on a new bell schedule and really thinking about, is it a structural problem that we might be able to fix for students? Being willing to look at whether a block versus a stacked might be better for kids' social and emotional. What are we doing in terms of homework? They established a calendar in the lounge of when tests, so that all across departments, they can tell when we're not all assigning tests on the same day. And so even just today, they said, well, maybe we should put projects on there as well, so we know we're not overwhelming our kids. Number 5 is an interesting one, and one of the things we saw in all 3 schools is what we call trying to fix a tier 1 issue with tier 2 solutions, right? That oftentimes we see students who are struggling, we want to immediately kind of offer additional interventions. But really what we needed to do, kind of Kathleen, to your point, is we needed to pull back, and is what's happening in the classroom every day the highest quality that we can give our kids? Because what the research says is strong tier 1 instruction will support 95% of our students, right? So if that's true, we needed to kind of see, well, what's happening in the classroom? Are we giving our kids access to high quality, rigorous text, or have we started bringing the text down to what level we think they are, right? The research says you bring the text up and then you help everybody get there, as opposed to bringing text down. And that has kind of contributed a little bit to what we call the Matthew effect, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And we see that kind of in some reading levels, particularly in our boys when we start hitting the middle school level. So we're going to correct that right quick. And then number 6, this idea of so many arrows. We have a small staff. We have 3 really great small schools, and we have really dedicated staff. And oftentimes we have to decide what we can do anything, but we can't do everything, right? So really kind of pulling back and saying, well, maybe we need to focus on this first and get this right. And so again, thank you for being part of the committee. It's a lot of sitting, so sorry, Kathy. So some immediate actions we took, the implementation of an interim principal at Hermosa View to provide the necessary administrative support that we wanted them to have, moving to a full-time assistant principal at Hermosa Valley that allows Allison to focus on and being out and about. She was able very quickly to rally additional staff to be out at recess and lunches, and so you see lots of adults out there and resetting norms. My favorite norm is that we sit down to eat. Didn't know if you knew that. Lots of kids like to stand and eat. Stand and eat, stand on the table, stand. So just really quickly establishing, we sit while we eat. That's what we do. Identifying and ceasing instructional practices. So one of the things that I don't know if you noticed in the LCAP survey was something called a reading coach, and that is still in the red. And the reason we pulled that is because the reading coach was focused on some reading practices that are not research-based. And this idea, and I didn't want to spend more money throwing money at practices we know that don't work for kids. And so we were able to pull that. It was also taking our teachers out of the classroom a significant amount. And I believe one of the most important things we can do is honor and really protect teachers' time in the classroom. So before we pull people out of the classroom, we need to make sure it's high quality. And so we wanted to protect their time. Stop contracted professional development that takes teachers out of the classroom excessively. Fortunately, I don't cost anything additional. So we've been able to do the professional development. Moving forward, coming out of the ELA adoption, what we would like to do is hopefully these people fall so in love with working together that we turn into an instructional leadership team. We'd like to have so that we can continue to gain traction and coherence across K-8. Right? We also want to make sure that we're strengthening our tier 1 practices. We need to recommit to the research. And kind of spending some time looking a little bit of staffing ratios, making sure that we have a clear ratio for how we assign noon supervisors, office staff, counseling staff, and really kind of stepping back and making sure that we're staffed appropriately. And then identifying areas for greater efficiency. So for example, at the March board meeting, you will no longer be working on a PDF doc. You will be working in Diligent, which is in Board Docs. So that's an example of something that's going to save district staff a tremendous amount of time, because time is money. So my recommendations kind of moving forward, particularly this spring, is that we engage with our stakeholders. Thank you, Sylvia, and I are going to be working on the LCAP's, we'd like a strategic plan survey, so really can get some information from our parents, our students, and our staff. And I'd like to develop a 3-year strategic plan so that some of these actions don't seem so overwhelming to get done in 1 year, that we really have some year-by-year steps, that they are focused, and they are measurable, and then they are time-bound. meaning that we think we can get this done in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, and so forth. We'll be bringing to the board in May a K-8 ELA adoption. And the reason K-8 is so important is that we want kids to, there is a kind of an analogy we used in the ELA adoption is if you imagine your children are learning how to play soccer, and every year at every team, they learned how to kick the ball differently. They would not turn into Division I soccer players, right? And so we want to make sure that our students are getting those same the same language, right? We don't want them to have to code switch every year because ultimately everyone's ending up at the high school, right? All roads are going to lead to AP Lang. So with that in mind, we want to make sure that they're all in alignment. We also want to re-engage our parents. We have out of COVID forced our schools to close to outside, and we are a small district and we have really amazing dedicated families, and we need to get them back. I want to see them back in classrooms, back on campuses, back on helping us run programs that I really think will benefit a lot of our kids. And then I'd like to work on conducting an audit of our technology practices. How are we using our Chromebooks? What is that looking like? How are we using them as tools, and how can we possibly use them a little bit differently so that we can increase face-to-face fellowship, for lack of a better word, than everybody working online. So, additional superintendent's reports. You can see this is a picture here from one of our everyone is a reading teacher. We pulled everyone, all 75 certificated and 55 classified, into a room and we learned together. So we had finished up our last study. We did a book study of The Knowledge Gap by Natalie Wexler, and we did a podcast listening study of Sold a Story. One of our learnings is that we wanted to make sure everyone, certificated, classified, had a working knowledge and were dangerous in the science of reading before we bring out something that was going to be transformational. We also did our first 2 days of our ELA adoption, day 1 and day 2. You can see these folks in that picture. Look how serious they look. They're so focused. And so we have a really great group. We want to thank our administrators, thank our teachers, and then we have parents on this committee. One of the things that will be important for us to do before we end, we're going to thank the student councils, but we're going to use student council as student focus groups because it's important. If the materials are in front of them, they need to give us their input. We also want to thank the Valley staff. For the first time, we did a Perspective Hermosa Valley preview day. We wanted to help we've done such a great job increasing enrollment at View and Vista, which is great, but now we're out of classrooms. But we do have classrooms at Valley, and we wanted to make sure the families in the South Bay knew that they have middle school choices. It was a packed house. And so it was our first time out. We got a lot of good notes that we'll revise for next year, but it was great to see so many families. And the band was amazing. I do want to update the community. Our website now looks different. Instead of a Learn About Measure HV, we have a Measure HV Bond facilities update. So we have a brand new webpage. There's 2 ways to get to it. I'll show you in just a minute through hbcsd.org. Under departments and facilities, you will find on those, we already have architectural services proposals out, as well as topographical and land survey services. We don't need the topographical immediately, but we'd like it to be done and in the can for the architects when they're ready for it. We also meet weekly with our bond team and our district advocacy group, and we are already in the queue for any state funding that might come our way. So just for a little bit of a timeline, the RFQs are due by March 5th. We will review them and we will hold interviews on March 14th. Our goal is to actually have 2 architects that we settle on, a primary and a secondary. For whatever reason, if something happens, we don't want to have to slow down a process and go back. And then we will hold a board workshop on March 26th that we can talk about bond processes and project prioritization. That's a lot of P's in one bullet. Clearly, I didn't practice that. And Dag will be here with us, and we will kind of work on starting to set some of our priorities. So go on our website, two places. You can go into the departments, or you can click on Facilities Bond Program at the top if we wanted any outside people, folks, to be able to get to the RFQs very quickly within 2 clicks. This enhanced web page has all of our bids. It holds our facilities master plan, all of our information around the Citizens Oversight Committee, any presentations and communications. And then coming soon, we're going to start as soon as we have a better idea of timelines. That will live here as well. Community communications, project flyers will go on here. We'll list information around awarded projects and contractor documents. So Eileen has been very busy. Any questions?
Great job, Susan. That was a lot, and we really appreciate, I mean, it's really excellent, but I'm going to let Rachel, if you have any comments, we'll start on this end, or questions.
Well, really just more of a comment that was incredibly comprehensive, and just, I mean, it really makes me more excited to be here and to be part of all this energy and this forward momentum. So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Maggie?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo my kudos to Susan for the work you're doing, and hopping in these 100 days have felt like many more days than there were 100, but especially your attentiveness to the bond passage and walking the streets. Really am grateful that you're in the seat and we have you looking with fresh eyes on the state of the district.
Great, thank you.
They sold the house.
Who is that talking?
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Kathy?
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to reiterate how lucky we are to have Susan, Dr. Wilds, as our English Language Arts Adoption Committee head, because her expertise is I've taught language arts for 20 years and I'm learning a ton. So I really, really, really appreciate your knowledge. Thank you.
Carol?
I have another thank you. Look, I wasn't part of the board yet, but I know all the miles you put in to help, get this bond, talk to the community and get that out there. So I appreciate that, because we all know how hard volunteers are, and you volunteered all of your personal time. So thank you for that. And yeah, thank you for the comprehensive notes and plan. I mean, I don't think anyone's in doubt of where you want to take this ship. So I appreciate that. I have one question.
Sure.
Under themes that emerged, number 4, that you had an increase in anxiety. My question was, do you feel like is the feedback you're getting that that's over the last year, or is that since COVID, or is that just in general?
It's since COVID. There's lots of factors. It's kind of hard to tease out the one thing. What we're hearing from our counselors is we have record numbers of kids coming to the wellness centers, not necessarily for just hanging out necessarily, but for coming because they need. I think, Rachel, we heard Cassie talk about today. They're coming because they're in crisis, right? And I think there's a lot of things contributing to it. I think there is, I'll be honest, I do think there is, we have too many kids on social media. We are running into a lot of, inappropriate text messaging. So really the team and I sitting together and thinking about, like, how do we help support families in helping to monitor a diet, right, of what's coming in, because that's for every risk assessment we're taking in, it's coming in with pages and pages of text messaging. Things like Snapchat is nobody's friend. Then that's really tough. And then we also have, but we do think, and this is, we had a student from a student council, we had 2 today at Wellness, and we had 2 alumni, and then we had the debate with these 4 kids talking about the difference between block and stack schedule was fascinating. They just them talking. We had, and 2 alumni, one at Costa and one at Redondo, right? And the 2 of them talking about it. And, Lucy said it very clearly. I have a lot of homework every day. And our administrators were able to do something called a day in the life, where they shadowed a kid. And Miss Bledsoe said, I didn't make it through the day without not only my homework, but I didn't finish assignments that then became my homework. And I think that's probably contributing to it as well. And, kids have a lot of activities after school. So, I mean, it's really hard to tease out, but I think we can do some things that
Okay.
can
All right, well,
address it.
sounds like you have a pretty good handle
Yeah.
on it, so thank you.
Yeah, it was really interesting just to hear them talk about the day in the life, both the administrators at Valley, because, basically we were taking a test in first period, and she's like, I couldn't stop thinking about the test all day. And I didn't do great on the test. And
She got a C, she passed.
but you see the compounding of what's happening. It is a different experience coming from a block schedule, going to a stacked schedule at high school. Just with my own child, I see a real difference between the two systems that we have that our kids are going to.
Yeah.
I agree with everyone's thank yous, Susan. I feel like we're really lucky that we had Jason to begin with, and now we've got, and where he took the district from where, and now where you're taking it even further and like kind of tightening the ship and pointing us in, a direction. And I think we're all excited to kind of support you with. And I think my biggest one is on the arrows part.
Yeah.
Making sure that you feel like you've got board support for those arrows. That we're not overwhelming the group because we're all excited, and when you're new, you're excited. So, I'm taking notes on the goals and things that we had talked about earlier, and just like thinking about all the directions that we are interested in going, and making sure that we've got those all accounted for in our updates. Because some of those, there was probably like 10 things that you were like, oh, and we're doing this and we're doing that, and in our LCAP we've got this goal, and that's not even listed on here. So just making sure that we all, take a deep breath. If we acknowledge all the work that everybody's doing and you're doing and the team is doing, we really appreciate.
We have a very good team.
We do have an excellent team of people. But just, again, I think what Jason did a good job too of doing for us was saying like, hold on a second, everybody. We've got a lot of priorities here. We only have so many people, and just kind of breaking us every now and then. So I'm just encouraging you to,
I will.
put on the brakes if you need to, or just remind us to be like, over time or over 3 years sometimes.
Yeah.
That's,
And I think that's also, re-engaging our parents. There are things like robotics. I want robotics.
Yeah.
Do I have staff to lead it? No, but I know we might have some Northrop Grumman parents sitting in this, audience, right? And those kinds of things. I think we just need to re-engage. Oftentimes volunteers just need to be invited.
Yeah.
That's
And there's a lot of great programs that are happening in these two other districts that were surrounding us that we just haven't had the ability yet to implement, or things maybe we're interested in doing, but just we aren't there yet. Or we have other signature programs that they don't have. So, I think as a board, I'll just speak on behalf. We're just very grateful you're here. Grateful that you've integrated into the team so greatly, and thank you for the comprehensive plan.
Pleasure.
Yes, go ahead, Rachel.
I did have one question. I know you've told us this before, but I've forgotten. The 3-year strategic plan, which I think is an incredibly brilliant idea to make it 3 years. When do you envision that plan starting?
So in March, we're going to meet we'll have a workshop on the bond. In April, I've got a date set for us. That will give us time to get a survey out to both parents, staff, and then in that April meeting, what I'd like us to do is we will disaggregate that data. There are going to be some things that rise. I've just sat in room with parents, so I have a fairly good idea that some of the things that are going to pull there. People were very concerned about kind of ELA and those kinds of things. So I think kind of straightening that ship is going to take care of a little bit. But April, I think we're going to disaggregate the data. Then the team and I will put the plan together based on your input. So hopefully, our goal is to bring it to the board for approval probably in June or July. So we'll have it for the next year.
Thank you.
All right, great. Moving on, consent. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Maggie. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Kathy. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to the superintendent approval. Oh, sorry, those were under the consent. Sorry, business. Nope, that's under consent also. Sorry, moving on. Board action. Get to skip quite a few things there. S is under superintendent, S-32-24/25, the adoption of the
2026 school calendar. Dr. Wilds.
Yeah, the proposed 25-26 school year calendar for the Hermosa Beach City School District has been developed with consideration for aligning with the Manhattan Beach Unified School District, although you will also see a lot of alignment with the Redondo Beach Unified School District calendar as well. We want to really thank HBEA. January, February is not normally negotiating season, so we really want to thank them for working with us and working so quickly to kind of identify and do this in a timely manner. We wanted to be able to communicate to our families. Staff recommends you approve this calendar.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or concerns? Rachel? Okay, we'll just keep going to hold your motion. Maggie, any questions?
None.
Carol, Kathy? All right, let's make a motion.
I motion to approve the calendar.
Thank you, Rachel.
I second.
Thank you, Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, especially in Maggie's, where Maggie is. And Dr. Wiles, when will we be able to get that out to families?
Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Oh, perfect. Look at that. All right, moving on to S-33/2425, 2023-2024 school accountability report cards for Hermosa View, Vista, and Hermosa Valley schools. Ms. Gluck.
The School Accountability Report Card is an annual report that's required by California Ed Code. It is recommended that the board approve the 23-24 School Accountability Report Cards for all schools within the district as presented in the packets.
Thank you. I always find it interesting that you have to do it from the year. It's like not the year you're in. But anyway, anyone have any questions or concerns? Rachel, Maggie?
None.
None.
Kathy? Okay, moving on. Let's take can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Kathy. Can I have a second?
I'm second.
Thank you, Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Maggie. Moving on to S-34/24/25, Resolution 10:24/25, certifying to the Board of Supervisors of the County of Los Angeles all proceedings in the November 5th, 2024 general obligation bond election. It's a very big deal. Dr. Wiles.
One. So this is Resolution 10:2425 of the Board of Education of the Hermosa Beach City School District, certifying to the Board of Supervisors of the County of Los Angeles all proceedings in the November 5th, 2024 general obligation bond election. Staff recommend you adopt this resolution, but we want to also let you know, we do also have Lauren Shan here if you have any questions around either this resolution or the next one as well.
Can I just get clarification? In the title, it says 10:2425, and in the resolution, it says 11. It's 10, okay. Just for the minutes, let's just make sure we note that. Anyone have any questions?
I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to hold my questions until I have more information.
I won't make a comment. Rachel? No? Maggie?
None.
Okay. And thank you for being here tonight, but yeah, we have, unless you'd like to give us any more information, but I have no questions, but we're just excited that we passed this bond. Yeah. And at this point, the resolution goes to the Board of Supervisors, and the Board of Supervisors just stamps it and says, great job, and let's go spend some money.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, then they send us a bill.
yeah,
We
exactly.
got to pay for this election.
Right. Huh, interesting. How much does an election cost like that? Is it 35 or 65? 60. Okay. Well, worth it, Hermosa Beach. All right, so if no further questions, can I get a motion?
Did we already do that?
I motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you, Rachel.
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Okay, got it.
All right, moving on to business. Resolution 12:24, B-74-24/25, Resolution 12:24/25, establishing a bond oversight committee. Ms. Montalvo.
Thank you. As part of the Measure HB, we are required to have a Citizens Oversight Committee, and approval is recommended for the adoption of Resolution 12/24/25 of the Board of Education designing its Citizens Oversight Committee for Measure S and HV and approving to amend the restated bylaws therefore. So some of the members will be carrying over from Measure S onto Measure HV, and some will be retiring, like we have a parent leaving the district in June, so we'll get a replacement. So this resolution allows all that to happen.
And the replacement will come, like, we'll put it out to the public?
Yes.
In terms of what their designation is, like they're a
Yes.
parent or they're a community member?
Right.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Maggie?
Nope.
Carol? Nope. Kathy? Rachel? Rachel has a question?
Well, I just had a comment, and that's just thanking everyone in advance for those who sat on the Measure S, and we're continuing on to Measure HV, because it's really kind of unseen work, but it's really important to ensure that we're good fiscal stewards. So thank you in advance.
Yeah, great. The committee has been very committed, so we appreciate them. I think they meet 4 times a year, right? Yeah.
Committed committee.
A committed committee. All right, so I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Kathy. Can I get a second? Thank you, Rachel. All in favor? Aye.
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 Moving on to B-75-24/25, the consultant agreement for owner's representative for District Measure S State Matching Dollars Project, Ms. Montablo.
Thank you. Ratification and approval is recommended for the consultant agreement with Nancy Bartolo, doing business as public education consultants, to collaborate with various consultants, architects, construction companies, public agencies, and the Hermosa Beach community on Measure S and state matching dollar projects.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy in the back. We always appreciate you. Rachel, questions? Maggie?
Nope.
Carol?
Nope.
Kathy? Nope. All right, can I get a motion, please? Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Carol? It was Rachel and Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, great. Moving on to B-76-24/25, the contract for clear induction administration services, credential program, curriculum, and instruction services. Dr. Wilds.
Yes, so approval is recommended for this contract with LACO so that our assistant principal, Allison Montoya, can clear her administrative credential.
Oh, great. Perfect. Anyone have any questions?
Nope.
That's great. I'm glad she's doing that. I'm glad we're helping to make that happen for her. So without any further questions, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
A second.
Thank you, Carol. Kathy, Carol, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Measure passes, aye. Maggie, we didn't hear you on that one, but
Aye.
thank you. B-77-24/25, consultant agreement for occupational therapy services, Ms. Gluck.
Approval is recommended for the consultant agreement with Gwen Oliker to provide an occupational therapy assessment for a student for the 24-25 school year.
Great. Anyone have any questions? All right. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Carol. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to B-78-24/25, the 2025 California School Board Associate Delegate Assembly Election. Dr. Wild.
Yes, so the most exciting part of the evening. This is an action item that allows the board to consider and select candidates to serve on the 2025 California School Board Association Delegate Assembly for Region 24. Delegates serve a 2-year term, and the board can select up to 5 of the candidates.
So just for clarification for everyone, there are only 5 candidates.
Yes.
Maggie, sometimes you have an opinion on these folks, but if there's anyone that we feel like we,
No opinions. Just very sorry we don't have anybody from the South Bay on there.
Yeah.
it is usually that we don't have anyone from the South
Oh,
Bay.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I've heard her talk about that.
But, all right, well, there's 5 names here, and if everyone's comfortable, we can move forward with the 5 names that are on here, and I can put an X in each box, or anyone has a concern or comment or?
I have no idea.
I have no concerns.
I have no concerns. That's a better answer.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, well, then, I guess that is we need to make a motion to say that we will
I move to
select.
approve the 5 names listed.
Thank you, Maggie. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rachel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to board member roundtable.
Oh, that's right.
Anyone have any last minute pleas or conversations or questions, or not maybe last minute, they can be current time?
I don't. I mean, actually, I'm really excited to have a 5-woman school board and a woman superintendent. And I mean, we're a power team. There you go.
Totally. Rachel?
It seems like a long time ago, but it only seems like yesterday that our LA community was devastated by the fires, and I'm not sure what I can say about our school district stepping up that can be shared in public, but I thank everyone that has stepped up, and I look forward to supporting in any way we can anyone that needs district support.
Awesome. Thank
I agree with that.
There's going to actually be a call on Friday with Ben Allen and a couple other legislators talking about any other support that they can do for the community. And I do know that Manhattan Beach took in quite a few students. I want to say could be somewhere between 150 to 200 families or kids.
Students.
American students. American Martyrs took in quite a few students. I want to say somewhere between 40 and 60 maybe. Quite a few.
I don't have the final
It
count.
was quite a few. I don't think we took
Martyrs
in
is at 73.
73. Thank you, Maggie. And
We've taken 4.
we've taken in 4. So, we are available, happy to support. We've let Manhattan Beach know that we'd be happy to support them in any sort of counseling or trauma support as well. So I'm going to sit on the call tomorrow with Ben Allen's group just to listen to see if there's any other information we can share. But yeah, and I think the big question I hear from Palisades and Altadena families are like, what schools are, what's going to be open? How can we get Pali High School back? That's my understanding. Or what can they do, or where they can newly locate? So I don't think they have an answer to that yet. Doesn't seem like it.
I think there's several pieces of legislation to make rebuilding, DSA approved, those kinds of things, move faster for those schools in that community.
But we'll keep you posted. Yeah. Other than that, buy your disco tickets for the silent disco. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you, Carol.
Second.
Thank you, Maggie and Rachel. We'll take everybody on that one. We'll do Carol and Maggie. And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:15.